welcome back. I am doing my last decade look today. For the past year, I have worked on the 1920s all the way now to 2015 and nowadays makeup trends, so I'm excited to get that started. And I'm gonna kind of divide my face and do the trends from 2015 or 16 and now the current trends 2021. Not necessarily going to be exactly what I typically wear because I take bits and pieces of these trends, I guess, but I thought it'd be interesting. I've seen a lot of videos like this. I thought it'd be interesting to do this type of video as my final decade look. So let's just get started. So dividing my face up, I'm gonna make this side 2015 and this side 2021. On the 2015 side of my face, I'm gonna make my skin pretty matte, and I know it's more about the glowy, dewy look now. So for primer, I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Tone Adjusting Face Primer, and it's the green tinted one to help with redness. So I'm gonna take a pump of that and just put it on this side. Whenever I touch my skin, it gets very red, so ignore that. On this side of my face, we're gonna do the Milk Makeup Primer. And this is more of a dewy formula, so we'll get that nice glow right off the start. Okay, I like the feeling of this primer. It feels cold when you apply it to your skin. Okay, so for 2015, the foundation was, I think it was there was a lot more coverage and it was more matte. So what I'm using is what I started out really loving at the time, and I don't wear this really anymore, but I will tell you, if I need my makeup to stay all day, I will go back to this. It's the Estee Lauder. I just have 2 shades. I still apply with a sponge. A lot of people did back then, I think, so I'm gonna use the sponge to apply, and I'm just spraying MAC's Fix Plus spray on it to dampen it. Okay, so not really a method here. I am just applying it all over and a little down my neck. For me, it's very full coverage. I think Estee Lauder classifies this foundation to be more medium buildable to full coverage. I would honestly classify it as full coverage. So it definitely does not look skin-like, but I mean, it is pretty nice if for like an event. Okay, so for the 2021 side, I am using for foundation the Ilia True Skin Serum foundation, and the directions to say to apply this do say to use it kind of like a serum, so pressing it in your skin with your fingers, and then what I'm going to do is use a brush after that. So this is definitely more lighter coverage. It says on the bottle, you know, 1 pump for light coverage, 2 for medium, so I'm gonna go in and do another layer after this, just so it's not such a stark difference between this side, which is more full coverage, and then this side, which is way more natural. So yeah, I think the goal is to make your skin look more like skin nowadays, and there's a lot of foundations with skincare benefits, so a lot of people look for that. Clean makeup. I ordered this because it's clean, and I want, you know, my skin deserves the best, you know, like I would like my makeup to be as clean as possible. Funny enough, don't need a brush. I'm actually amazed. And yeah, I mean, this foundation does look like skin. Next, I'm going to use the same concealer for both sides, but I'm going to apply it differently. So I'm using the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape Concealer. I'm in the shade 22N, which is light neutral. So in 2015-16, concealer was like the thing to put all over your face. So basically, you know, the triangle. I never even did this when it was popular, but this is how it was applied. And so I'm gonna apply it like that on that side, kind of crazy. And then I'm gonna apply the concealer like that on this side. I am gonna do a little bit on between my eyebrows, just because my skin gets a little bit more red there and I need a little extra coverage because the foundation was lighter on that side. Okay, so same thing, I'm gonna use the same sponge on this side. Something to note about this foundation by Estee Lauder, it dries down fast. So you gotta work fast with concealer when you're adding that on, or else it'll look very dry and kind of take off your makeup. With this concealer, I always use my fingers as well, just to kind of press it in at the end. It doesn't take off my makeup if I do it gently, and it just really helps blend everything, especially under my eye where it can definitely crease more. Okay. So I'm gonna use, I have some spots, some hormonal spots in my jawline that I'm just going to use as spot concealer. Nothing here really changed between the years, so I'm just gonna use that and I'm gonna blend it in. A lot of people tend to like brushes now. Again, I still use a sponge. Okay, next powder. This is another product that is used very differently now. I'm gonna use this NYX powder just because it's white and it does show like not a white cast, but it does lighten up the area that you're trying to powder and finish. So I'm gonna use this first. It is the NYX HD face powder, finishing powder. It says it's translucent, but it is not super translucent. So I'm actually gonna take my sponge and just do this, and I'm gonna use this to really brighten up this area and bake. And on the side of my face for when I'm, you know, contouring later. So nowadays we like to still use like a lot of the time use like a translucent finishing powder, and it's totally up to preference if you want to use like a powder that's more pressed like this one or a looser powder. I usually use a looser powder, but it's really up to preference at that point. I'm just going to use a smaller brush like this size. It's kind of like an eyeshadow brush, and just use that to set my concealer and on my lids, and just where I put concealer here, and dot over my blemishes, and that's it. So we want to make sure nowadays for the glowy look that you're trying to go for, not to put powder everywhere on your face. Okay, so as this is baking, I'm going to use the Milk Makeup Contour Stick. It's in shade Baked. I never even used to contour my face, but I know that it was very popular at the time, so I'm using a brush and just kind of brushing it back and forth and blending it in definitely, but still kind of leaving a dark cast in that area like that, and kind of bringing it down to like here. And then just kind of contouring the top as well of my face and the jawline. Now I know like the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette was super popular. I don't own that, but that was a very popular choice back then for contour. Lastly for the contour stick, I'm gonna contour my nose, and it was just kind of like, it was like a line on your nose, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with the powder on this side and just really clean up that edge. and let it set for like a second. I'm gonna take the rest of what I was baking and dust any of it off. Yeah, it was like stark white on the edge there. Okay, on this side, I'm going to take my NARS bronzer, and I'm gonna actually go in again on this side because I know a lot of the time bronzer was used over the contour. So this is my little miniature NARS bronzer. It's the Laguna bronzer, and you know, nowadays it's just kind of, you know, the face makeup and even eye makeup, everything is used nowadays to contour and shift your face like up, so just kind of make everything look more like snatched. So I guess makeup nowadays, we kind of learned how to apply it to make your face look better, I guess. And the difference is back in 2015-16, it was more about, you know, how well you can apply makeup and how good it looks. So like, you know, really beautiful but kind of crazy eye looks with cut creasing and glitter and everything. So it looks very artistic and beautiful and everything, but how it made the rest of your face look, I guess, was not the goal. Where that's more of the goal today, to kind of like lift everything up. I'm still kind of contouring, but I'm really sticking to more of just the edge of my face. So it definitely looks a little more natural, and you know, especially with the blush and everything, it's just gonna look a little bit higher up and more like lifted. So for blush, a lot of people didn't use blush back in 2015-16. It became way more popular in the last couple years, so I'm gonna use a little blush, but it's not gonna be the focus on this side. I'm gonna use my Tarte little blush in shade Seduce and just kind of apply it right here and up here. So just kind of like on top of the bronzer, but I'm gonna apply it really lightly because it wasn't, blush was not a focus, I should say. Okay, so for blush on this side, I'm gonna use the Ilia blush. It is in a tube. It's called Olive Me, and it's a pretty, like, kind of a, it's more bright than a rosy pink. You can see, get the idea of that color. I'm gonna use my fingers to apply it. So I'm just gonna warm it up, just applying it up here to lift my face. And also, and this is definitely more of like a dewy, it's not a matte highlighter, so it gives that kind of pretty skin-like dewy finish as well. And I'm going to actually put a little bit on my nose as well to get like that sun-kissed look. Now, some people do like all the way across. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep the like lifted look. Just sticking it up here as well, just a little. Okay, next I'm gonna do brows. I definitely need to like balance my face, I feel like. And I definitely need to show you the difference. I'm sure everyone remembers the 2015-16 brows, the Felique brows, the really thick, heavy drawn in brows that I definitely don't do. I definitely noticed, like I said, I took bits and pieces of trends back then. I definitely drew my brows in a lot heavier, so I guess that makes sense. I am using the Precisely My Brow. Now I'm just starting with this. I'm definitely gonna use a couple products here. I think the most popular was the Anastasia Dip Brow Gel. Gels were a lot more popular back then, so I'm just kind of using this to outline the shape I want it to be. It was definitely more of an arched look, I feel like, as well. I'm gonna switch over actually to the Pixie Endless Brow Gel Pen. This is in the shade Light. And this feels more like a dip brow or like a mousse. Something a little more like wet, if that makes sense. This will keep brows in place. Crazy. And then a lot of the time, like the front pieces were kind of coming up like that. My brows just don't really work like that. I'm gonna try to do that, but they don't really work. Okay, something else that was popular was to use gel. I'm using the Colourpop Brow Boss Gel. And just for like extra gel, extra color, extra hold, I'm gonna use this to lock everything in. Oh my goodness. And I'm not done. First of all, I feel like I need to extend my brow a little bit. And I'm gonna use concealer. So I'm gonna take the same concealer and like line underneath the brow and clean that up. And not just that, but over the brow as well. I do remember using like a cream stick and cleaning up the brow. It was definitely popular. Oh my god, this looks so dark. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the 2021 side, and I'm just using this brow pencil, and what I'm doing is I'm brushing up first. The soap brows are really popular right now, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of color it in a little bit and brushing up, especially at the end. I'm gonna use the gel. A lot of people have like the actual like dish that's kind of looks like Vaseline. You can totally use Vaseline, by the way. And just brushing the brows up. This trend doesn't really suit me, I feel like. So I'm gonna like kind of brush them up, but also brush them out so they don't look like too crazy, you know. I'm just gonna fill in a little bit more. I feel like I look so angry on this side. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. highlighter. This is the Moonlight Pearls highlighter. And I used, you know, these fan brushes were very popular. I'm gonna use that to dust on the highlight here and right on the, this was like really popular to do like very light white and like very glowy. So I'm sticking it there, the tip of, you know, the bridge of my nose, and Cupid's bow. I'm just gonna do it just a little bit over the blush on this side, just like a little bit to blend in with the blush. For eyes, I'm gonna use the Hocus Pocus palette. It's a little early still for Halloween themed things, but I haven't used this in a while, and we're kind of, you know, getting into the season. It's almost September. So I'm gonna use that. So first thing for this eye is, a lot of people put a piece of tape there. I don't have a piece of tape, and I don't want my makeup to come off because I already did my face makeup. So I'm just gonna clean it up after and make it really stark line, like everything was very like controlled and not blended out. So to get started, I'm gonna use the Come Little Children shade right here. And I'm just gonna use that kind of on the outer corner and side and just use that to blend. I have a mirror over there, so that's why I'm looking over here a lot, just to let you know. Okay, and next I'm going to use the shade On Toast right here and just use that to blend. Now I really need to just blend this all in. I just blended that, and I'm going back in with Come Little Children right here, and then this deeper shade right here, Goodbye Cruel World. And I'm just gonna really deepen up the edges. So going in with the first shade here, the same shade, the edge first, and then going in with the deeper shade, using that on the edge. Okay, now cutting the crease, and I'm gonna be fixing all of this up after, so it'll look better. But going back to my Shape Tape concealer, I'm going to cut the crease about halfway like that. Yes, it was crazy like this. Okay, so for this eye, zoom you in, I'm gonna go in with Full Moon, the white shade right here, and then put these sparkles on top, which is Brew Potion. So I'm just gonna use my finger for this. Okay, so my battery died, but what I did was I did a little bit darker on this corner, and just like I said, I mixed the light Full Moon and Brew Potion in, and it was all about kind of like a glittery eye with the contrast all around. And then I cleaned it up with just my sponge, so it's more of a clean line to prepare for the eyeliner. But before I do that, I'm just gonna do the eyeshadow for this side. Again, it's really about lifting your face. So I'm gonna use the On Toast shade here. And to start out, and this is very pigmented and it comes out kind of like choppy at first, but if you just kind of really keep blending it, it looks really nice after. And it's all about blending. And I'm gonna use Full Moon again, that white shade, and just kind of pop that with my finger on the lid. I find that looks now are a lot kind of more simple a lot of the time. I actually forgot to put more white with the Full Moon shade on the brow bone, because it was all about the brow bone popping back then. I'm gonna do like what I have left over, so just a tiny bit on the brow bone here. And again, just kind of clean up this area. Going back in with contour, I'm just quickly using the bronzer in and kind of lining the whole area and then the tip, and then patting off any excess. And this just looks a little bit more smooth. I'm still blending, and I added a deeper shade just a little bit at the ends. Okay, I'm gonna use the eyeliner by Rare Beauty. I'm gonna start with the inner section on this eye. Go as close to the lash line as possible. And just follow that eyeshadow line. Just like that. And on the other side, I'm gonna start in the inner corner as well. And it's gonna be more lifted. And a little bit shorter, and then I'm going to use eyeshadow to kind of help blend that out. I'm taking the deepest shade, or the deepest brown in the palette, and just kind of going over and extending the line a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural. Okay, now for the bottom lash line, I'm just going to take Come Little Children, which is this shade, and just kind of pop it in there. Not really any method, just, you know, kind of trying to keep it on the lash line, but just kind of to fill this area in. Okay, so I popped on some lashes to save time, and my camera keeps dying. So on this side, on the 2015 side, lashes were very voluminous and like full and popped out. So I'm just adding a little mascara to the ends, because there's, if I even have lashes at the end, I'll even have some lashes over here. But just adding some mascara there. And I mean, just the tiniest amount on the bottom, wasn't really focused on the bottom lashes. NYX Faux White's Vanilla color for the liner on the inside. And this always popped. So I'm gonna make this, a lot of people use like white as well. Make that poppin'. Okay, I did add some, not like a strip lash like this one, but it was kind of broken up into pieces. So I did one at the end and one towards the middle. I'm gonna put on some lashes. I'm gonna put on some mascara. I'm using the Lash Sensational by Maybelline. And I'm gonna just do some mascara on my actual eyelashes. I didn't really curl them. So I'm gonna do some liner at the top to make kind of like a cat eye in the corner, because that is super popular right now as well. Okay, so I just did the line in the inner corner, and so it makes your eye look a little bit more snatched and like lifted. I personally, I like both looks. I mean, this cat eye I feel like doesn't suit my eye shape, but it is what is trending right now. Also, I'm going to use the Colourpop freckle pen just on this side, and that's because fake freckles are like super popular right now. They have been popular for, I would say, maybe the last couple years, but it just kind of makes your skin look more natural sometimes if you apply it light enough. So just gonna do it on that side. Okay, now onto lips. Okay, for lips, I am using the MAC Soar lip liner, which was so popular back then, on this side. And then this is Kylie Jenner still. This was shade Candy K, and it's a liquid lipstick matte, was very popular again back then. And you can tell I overdrew my lips as well. I'm using on the 2021 side the House Laboratories Rip Lip Liner, and this is in shade Myth. This is the Lady Gaga brand. Using the KKW lip liner just in the middle here to kind of make that pop and make them look a little more pouty on this side. This is in shade Nude Zero. And I'm gonna take, this smells so good, it's by Patrick Ta. It's a lip shine, and this is called She's Expensive. Okay, this is the two looks side by side. So we got the more matte, more creative, more colorful side, and then we have the more maybe lifted, glossy, I guess more blended look for this eye, more cat eye for 2021. You guys let me know what side you like better. I say that I like both sides. I like certain things from both sides. You know, I think this is a really pretty look, like the even eyelashes. Like I said, with my eye shape, I'm not really sure the cat eye suits it because I have such a round eye shape anyways. Oh my gosh, I can already feel my lips sticking together because the matte liquid lipstick. It's so uncomfortable. But please let me know what side you like better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next video.